Okay, you're good.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of July 1st. Let's start by reading this in. The open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom teleconference, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. While still ensuring public access, this order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. You can find the order posted on the town's website. Regardless of our inability to meet in person, it is our intent to ensure continued transparency and the ability of the public to at least view the actions of the commission. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Tonight's public meeting will not feature public comment, as all public hearings will be continued in accordance with legislative passed on April 3rd, 2020. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, please be aware that any others may be able to see you and that you take care not to share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Thank you very much. I'd like to start out, thank Andy DeWolf for being our chair for the past year, and thank Joyce Smith, who's officially retired from conservation after 15 years, and welcome Mike as the vice chair, and Nicole as our clerk. So let's get going. First thing on the agenda is a public hearing at 6:30 for 175 8 Lots Road, and that's a continuation. Someone wants to make a motion to waive the reading of it, we can go right into it.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes for 8 Lots Road.
Andy DeWolf seconds that.
Zach made the motion, Andy DeWolf seconded. Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. 175 8 lots. Brandon, you want to fill us in here?
Unless Brian Hassett wants to give an update on the plans, he'd probably be.
Yeah, my apologies, Brian. I didn't see you there.
Okay.
I just clicked on the other screen. So,
Yep. Yeah. No. Definitely. So yeah, we've been working with Brandon since the last meeting, getting all the revisions taken care of. Like he was mentioning, the majority of them were just kind of within the notes, just to get those cleaned up and to get the verbiage exactly the way things need to be. There are just a couple more things that that we need to work through on the plan. Brandon mentioned a couple things. The erosion control barrier line should be labeled as a permanent limit of disturbance, with the exception of the replication area. That should be a temporary limit of disturbance or of work. So we can get that taken care of. He wants the biodegradable straw wattle to state that it's 100% biodegradable. So that's definitely another thing that we can easily do too. And there's another thing. We had discussed using a swale to kind of catch a lot of the runoff that would be coming from the gravel driveway. So I'm going to the wetlands, where instead where we're proposing is that we'll have the driveway slope away from the wetlands instead of including the shallow swale along the driveway. So and Brennan was all right with that. So that's about where we're at as far as changes to the plan go.
thank you. Brandon, any comments?
Yep, those were 3 comments that I asked for. Now he doesn't have these actually on the plan. I received the plans on Monday, so it was a little tight on the review. So that said, I think that these are minor things. Last thing that I'll mention is that I want the owner to know that the permanent limit of disturbance is going to be the erosion control line as it is now, like where it runs parallel to the driveway and then it runs across in front of the house. And that, that open field area there and behind the house, which you can't see in this current view, but it's there. That, this is based on decisions prior, keeping with prior decisions and trying to keep field habitat in Sutton, that the owner should keep in mind that he'll be able to mow that area 2 times a year, but he will not be able to convert it to lawn. And I asked Brian too if to make some kind of notes on the plan in that area about keeping it, hayfield to be mowed up to 2 times a year cannot be converted to lawn. So these are all things that they're not done, but I think that there are things that can be voted on with all of your approval. That's it.
Thank you. Mike, any comments on this one?
The plan disappeared. Hold on.
Hello?
The things with Zoom. Hold on. Can you guys hear me? Oh, there it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. I think she just put it back. No, I think that covered everything. I have no questions.
Oh, hang on, guys. I think my internet cut out a little bit. This is Brian. I'm not sure where everyone's at or if someone's talking right now and I interrupted them. I apologize if I do. But bringing up the limited disturbance in the front there and mowing it twice a year. One of the conversations I had, and I haven't discussed this yet with Brandon, but one of the conversations I had with my client was he was under the impression, well, first he would like to mow the front area and keep it down, but he was under the impression that he would be able to frequently, I guess, mow the front area more than just twice a year. And he was telling me that initially before he began the whole filing, that he had spoken with somebody at the conservation office, not exactly entirely positive who, but they said that that he probably would be able to mow the front area like that. It would be in contrast to what we were just saying, probably similar to lawn out front. I'm not sure. I just wanted to pose that to the commission.
Yeah, I would not have told him that he can mow it frequently. I would have said that wetland area and the buffer zone around it would have been able to cut it up to twice a year and only during certain times of the year. I wouldn't have said he could have converted it into lawn. So I don't know who that would have been.
Okay.
It's going in, there's no question about it, according to Jonathan over there.
So typically on a wetland meadow, they are allowed to be either continue to be hayed, which is typically twice a year, or nothing done and let it go to whatever kind of state it would grow into. So that's been a typical thing with this commission, to not allow it to be mowed. Does Andy or Nicole or Zach, James, anyone have comments on this?
Maybe if it was only, once a month.
Yeah, just come over here.
No.
No, it's not weird. They already know it's your house. Come on.
No, that's all right.
It's your cousin.
Any comments from anyone here?
Hi,
No
I have comments.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So my name is Janet Deshay, and we're at 183 Eight Lots Road. And I have written comments as well, so I'll go ahead and read them if that's okay, into the record. Okay, thank
Sure.
you.
Go on.
I'll read the whole entirety. Dear Conservation Commission, we're respectfully submitting the following comments and significant concerns with the permit application for 175 Eight Lots Road. And then I have bullet points. The first bullet point is the applicant is proposing to fill wetlands for a crossing that could have been avoided. The first section is prohibited by regulations. As stated in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act regulations under 310 CMR, I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo. 1055-4B General Performance Standards, which states that, quote, in accordance with the following general conditions and any additional conditions, unquote, and under 310 CMR 1055-4, which states, in the exercise of this discretion, the issuing authority shall consider the magnitude of the alteration and the significance of the project site to the interests identified in MGLC 131, section 40, in bold type, the extent to which adverse impacts can be avoided. Next bullet point, in accordance with the Mass Wetlands Protection Act regulations above, the Conservation Commission has the responsibility to identify whether the wetland impacts could have been avoided. Next bullet, 2 consecutive landowners, to our knowledge, could have avoided wetland impacts while providing the same amount of frontage by requiring the use of a common driveway, excuse me, from an adjacent lot, but they did not. Next bullet point, the current applicant, not yet the owner of this lot, has the prerogative to spend as much money as they prefer on their due diligence. This is not the town or the public's issue and should not affect the commission's final decision. Next bullet point, in accordance with 310 CMR 10.554, where it states the extent to which adverse impacts can be avoided, unquote, the current applicant is proposing wetland impacts that can be avoided. The applicant could have sought a common driveway, however, they did not. The next bullet point, the limit of filling and replicating wetlands up to 5,000 square feet does not apply because the wetland impacts could have been avoided even though this is an A&R project, i.e. it's not a subdivision. Next bullet point, since this land is no longer designated as agricultural use, it will likely revert back to a scrub shrub or a forested wetland. At the previous hearing, the commission expressed a desire to maintain the wet meadow status for this wetland. However, no one will continue to hay this land because it is no longer considered an agricultural use, and more importantly, this would be a non-agricultural alteration of this wetland, which is prohibited under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act regulations. And then the next section is the wetland boundary delineation. First bullet, was the wetland boundary reviewed by the Conservation Commission? And if so, what were the qualifications of this person? And the next bullet, because this land was in the past and continues to be a hayfield, this is considered to be a quote unquote problematic site in accordance with the Mass DEP's Bordering Vegetative Wetland Delineation Manual.
Shouldn't be doing that at all. And then
The next point is also because this land was in the past and continues to be a hayfield, this means the vegetation is altered and therefore the soil should be looked at by a soil scientist on behalf of the town. And the next section, after the wetland boundary is deemed as an approved wetland boundary, after it is delineated by a soil scientist on behalf of the town, the upland acreage should be reevaluated as to whether there is enough upland acreage to meet the zoning bylaws for a buildable lot. And a question we have is, has this been determined?
Ready?
And finally, This permit application does not appear to meet local and state regulations, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to comment and express our significant concerns. And best regards. Ken
All right,
and
thank
Jim,
you
the
for
chair.
that, Brandon. I'm going to go to you with
Thank
this
you.
because you know the laws and the rules better than anybody. So I don't know if you can kind of answer some of these things. I think some of these things are out of our control, but if you could give some insight, that'd be very helpful.
Sure. I heard really there were 4 points to answer here. The first one has to do with impact avoidance and how the applicant could have asked for a common driveway, say with a neighbor. And that is true, and it depends on how far the Conservation Commission wants the applicant to go forward with their due diligence for impact avoidance. I've seen it before where Conservation Commissions have required the applicant to at least try to make an attempt and to show the proof that they have made an attempt to contact their neighbors regarding requests for a common driveway so they can avoid wetlands. Sometimes the neighbors answer, sometimes they don't. But you could, at least have a certified mail return receipt with the request letter, and they could provide a copy of the request letter with an affidavit saying that this was what was in the mailing. That said, it's a bit of a moot point because regardless of how happy or unhappy you may be about the way these lots were divided to begin with, the Conservation Commission does have the power to allow up to 5,000 square feet of wetland fill with proper replication, pretty much carte blanche power to allow up to 5,000 square feet of wetland alteration. And in this case, there's 2,300 square feet of wetland to be filled. So the commission, if you choose, can just use that power to allow it. So that's my answer on the first part regarding impact avoidance and potential common driveway. The second part has to do with the hayfield. I understand that it will not be agricultural use anymore unless the owner decides to sell the hay, which he could. He would have to keep receipts and provide receipts for that. And that's a way to keep that agricultural exemption. At the same time, it's my opinion that in these cases where we've had agricultural fields that were wet meadows and being converted to residential lots, I think that duly permitted, like we've been doing, allows for a continuing use, and that is a legal and proper way of allowing it. That's my personal opinion. It has never been challenged by an abutter. So, if you want to appeal it, we could see where that goes. But that's my opinion on it. And I think it's, personally, as a wildlife biologist, I think it's important to keep these wet meadow habitats because we're losing them at a very fast pace in the Commonwealth, where these old fields are converting to red maple swamp. And now we have nothing but red maple swamp. And we don't have that kind of habitat. And it's becoming a rare type of habitat that certain kinds of wildlife utilize. And not only that, but it gives the town a local aesthetic. It gives it a kind of a rural, pastoral kind of aesthetic.
Engineer. Yeah, he's sort of the guy that is going to buy it.
Okay, so that's point number 2. Point number 3 regarding the soil scientist. I know that Arthur Allen of Ecotech delineated this wetland himself. And he is a soil scientist. And he not only that, but he's a leading soil scientist who helped to write the Hydric Soils book. So if there's anybody I have faith in that knows what he's talking about when it comes to delineation of wet meadow habitats and when it comes to the soils, it would be Art. So that's my answer to the soil scientist point. The fourth point was regarding the upland acreage. I don't have an answer to that. That's more of a planning board issue. So I unfortunately can't answer that one. Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much, Brandon. And I would say, according to planning, they made it a buildable lot. So I would, unless something changed, and made the 60-40 rule for upland. Any other comments from anybody?
Yes. Yeah.
Could you
Hello.
state your name for the record, please?
Yeah. Robert Carroll at 170 Eight Lots Road.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment that about the first meeting on the 17th. It seemed that you made it. It was made seem that the wetlands designation had just slipped through. When I've lived here for 31 years, and I know that that land had been for sale for quite a number of years, and I'd take a round robin guess about 25. And in all those years, that land had never met a perk test. So I guess that's a mystery. And at one time, there was a proposal to put solar panels in that field. Am I correct?
There are a bunch of things, and it's our understanding from multiple people that never did perk. And this is one, and I don't know if you saw in the last meeting, that these lots were approved by planning board before ever coming to us or letting us know. And it set quite of an example for the rest of the land in the town of Sutton. And I think it's a shame that we're seeing this after it's been approved. But for argument's sake here, this lot is an approved lot. So we cannot turn back time on this.
Right. I have a couple of questions on the first one is about the crossing. You said the crossing would not change. Now, I'm assuming that the crossing is the culvert that runs from the south side of Eight Lots Road to the north side. And there is a heavy iron or metal grate on each side that is usually cleaned out. It must be a basin. Is that correct?
Brandon or to Brian, can one of you guys speak on that?
Yeah,
So the crossing, I can say that counts as the area that's being filled, the 2,300 square feet. That's the crossing. I guess you think of it more as you are crossing the wetlands, not necessarily the wetlands crossing you. And in our situation, there'd be a concrete head wall and then just an open 15-inch pipe, 15-inch diameter pipe that would travel underneath it, that would allow hydraulic conductivity to continue between the two wetland areas.
So, also in the last meeting, you said that the hydraulic, what was it? Hydraulic conductivity, it shouldn't change. Now, is that within the area just on 175, or is that as it flows underneath the road?
I believe that's as it is on the site. It wouldn't significantly change it.
Okay. Are there any other pipes that are connected to that right now, or is that just free flow out of those basins?
No, that should be the only one that I'm aware of.
That was it. I just don't want to have it affect my property here at all, like my septic system on my well. I don't want the water to increase. I just over here. Hopefully it won't.
Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Yeah, Bill, sorry about that. I lost connection there real quick. Basically, I just wanted to let everybody know that between our wetlands
Should be
consultant and our planning board, all the i's are dotted and the t's are crossed with this project. I mean, you know, it seems like on a lot of these filings, we get a lot of kickback and they're questioning our town's ability to make decisions, and that bothers me because people don't want to see things built. So you know, we go through these things. This wasn't a one meeting sweep through deal. There's no backdoor deals on this. We do our best to make sure that there's no water that's going to go on anybody else's property. Minimal impact. That's our job. We have a whole avoidance and minimization sheet that needs to be filled out. So we do the absolute best we can. And I think if you put yourselves in the person that's trying to build here shoes, you'd see things in a different light. That's all I have to say about it.
Thank you, Andy, and I definitely agree. And I was not by any means making myself against planning board. I was just saying it would have been nice had we been involved from day one. But it is an approved lot. It is by definition the town of Sutton a buildable lot. So I think it is the only concern right now we have is between the applicant, the engineer, and us between cutting the field. So maybe we should make some decisions on that and move to vote if we're all good.
Yeah, on that one topic, I got one more comment just for that. My client, Charles Conley, had been texting me because he's on the meeting too. But he was texting me. He wanted me to specify that he said it was that Wanda was the one who had told him he had put in an offer on the property, and the day after it was accepted, he went down to the conservation office, and that's where he got that information from, that he'd be able to mow the lawn, up to the road. And he wanted me to mention too that he would not have moved forward with the project if that were not the case.
Okay, so I can't speak for that. Wanda Bean is the Secretary for Conservation, and I can't speak for her. She wouldn't have any decision making on that, and I don't know if it was misunderstood or what have you. But I guess if I'm hearing a motion to put this to vote, or
Bill, Mike McGovern. I didn't get a chance to weigh in after he had given us all this information about mowing the field. So then the only comment I would have is that he has to understand, your applicant has to understand that this is a wetland. And not only is it a wetland, but a portion of this project's in the buffer zone. So I really don't believe that Wanda gave him the information that he could mow that field and turn it into a lawn. It's seasonable mowing. Maybe it wasn't explained twice a year, but that's why we have these meetings. Now, we've moved those signs to the limit of the wetland, but it's got to be clear. And one of Brandon's comment is in his concern, and mine is now also after hearing the future applicant intent. He has to understand that that's our jurisdiction 100 feet from the edge of those signs, not just where the edge of the disturbance is. And we couldn't not allow him to even touch it, but we're trying to preserve that look of open field. So it is a little concerning before we put this to vote. I just wanted to say that. I'll make a motion to approve the project, but this owner clearly has to understand. And before any occupancy permit is given on this property, I would hope that there's a lot of education that goes on to the buyer or the owner or whoever's going to live on this property. And I'm not anti-built or to want to stop the project. But it has to be clear that they understand that they're in the jurisdiction 100 feet from those signs. And I want that to be said. So with that said, if nobody else has anything to say, I will make a motion to approve 175 8 Lots Road.
Mike, can I hold you off there? We're going to need a motion to close the public hearing. And then I don't know if we want to hear anything back from the applicant or the engineer, because I want them to be very aware of this. And I think they need to know that this is not the first. There's been multiple situations with these open wetland meadows. My family did one as well, and it can be cut twice a year. And it was an existing hayfield. So it can still be hayed if you want to mow it and bale it, or rotary mow it twice a year. But I don't know, Brian or the applicant, if you guys want to discuss this, or if you want to hold off because this is a huge thing. And you have butters there that are watching this meeting and listening to it, and it's being recorded. So my guess is if they see it start getting cut once a week or once a month, we're going to hear, you know, and I want to make sure it's clear before this goes through. It's a big project.
And Bill, just one more thing. I think that us as a commission, if we were to approve it, being very lenient, because there is a crossing, there is a replication. I think there's been a lot of consideration on our board's part to allow this project to even happen with an approval. So I think the small consideration of to have respect for the buffer zone and resource area isn't too much to ask of this lot. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. You know, I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth or anything like that. I just wanted to relay the information that I had and stuff like that. I'm not sure if Charles, I'm not sure if you have the ability to speak on this right now. I'm not sure if you had anything you wanted to convey to the commission or anything like that.
I can see he's on. I don't know if he wants to say anything. Or...
I'm not sure if he has the ability for audio or not.
Go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I don't really know how this works. Yeah, when they first accepted my offer on this lot, I went down to check everything out with the town the next morning. I was told what Wanda was the person that I was to speak to. And, you know, when I went down there, I specifically asked her, because, you know, I have a 4-year-old daughter. Her mother's very worried about the ticks in the field and everything. So I specifically asked her if I'd have any problem cutting the lawn. And she said to me she didn't think I'd have any problem, that it was really just wetland because of street runoff. If I had had another answer, I wouldn't have moved forward with this project. But now I'm at the point, I'm into it for so much, I couldn't go and build somewhere else. That's my concern.
Thank you for that.
It's freaking tree frogs out there. I caught one night. They're no bigger than.
Anybody else?
Yeah, just to, I don't know about your interactions with our office, but to just reaffirm what Mike was talking about earlier, it's not only the aesthetics of that wet meadow. That wet meadow actually has a lot of value to nesting birds and other wildlife. And there would be a mowing plan. So you got to really think about that. If that's something you want to move forward with, then we think close it out tonight. If you're not with that, then you got to go another direction.
And Mr. Conley, we're happy to continue this for another 2 weeks. We don't want to delay you, but if you want to give some time
I have
to
to close this month.
Okay.
They've already continued it for another month in the PNS, so I don't have a choice to whether or not to close this month. So.
Bad about the poor bastards.
All right, I see we should probably move. Janet, if you want to, real quick, because we're way over here, please.
I'll be very quick. Thank you. So just our 2 main points is that the commission has discretion based on when the lots were divided. This wetland impact could have been avoided. And then as far as the haying and any disturbance in it, it would be prohibited under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. So whatever disturbance that is planned, as far as it's not agricultural land any longer. So any disturbance in it would be a prohibition. It's prohibited under the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act regulations. So you just need to be clear about that. Okay, thank you.
Cutting at all, you're saying? Any form of cutting?
I'm sorry?
Are you saying
Yes.
any form of cutting at all?
Yes. Unless it's agricultural for a purpose, but it's not an agricultural
I
designation.
politely
So, yeah.
disagree with you on that, because you can still cut and hay even if you don't have 61A agricultural. That is allowed according to the town of Sutton.
Okay.
But Brandon, do you want to comment on that? Because I don't want to be going back and forth on this. I think Mr.
That's
Abbott and Conley have gone on long enough.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna have to just agree to disagree, and Ms. Shea, if she's a direct abutter, she has the right to appeal, of course. And then we could see what DEP says.
Why prohibiting
Andrew Wolf making a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Andy made a motion to close the public hearing. Zach seconded it. Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye.
With the conditions of regarding the finishing of the work that I asked for.
Yeah, we'll need an motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve 175 8 Lots Road, house septic and driveway with the conditions of the changes that Brandon set forth that needed to be on the plan, the biodegradable wattles. What else was it, Brandon?
Pitch the driveway away from the wetland.
Yes, pitch the driveway away from the wetland.
Label the erosion control barrier as the permanent limit of work.
Correct.
Change the erosion control detail to say 100% biodegradable wattles.
Is there anything else as far as language for this mowing? Because
Yep, I'm getting to it right now.
just so that it's very clear, because we don't want to have any issues down the road of what the intent of this field is.
Right, so in the areas where it's labeled as open field, where the wetland and the buffer zone is, outside of the permanent limit of disturbance, that it should be labeled as hay field to be mowed up to 2 times a year between July 15 and October 15 only.
That don't make sense.
Brandon, just a question on those mowing dates. That only gives them 30 days to mow it twice. I mean, I don't want to question it, but I want them to be able to maintain it if that's their purpose. And I think first cut's done before July 1st.
July to October.
Well, here's the thing is that first cut traditionally cuts into breeding season for a lot of animals that use the fields.
Okay, no, that's why I asked.
So I'm going to make a correction on July 15. In the past, we've done it July 1. So I think the July 1 will allow any nesting birds or mammals to be able to.
So July 1 to September 1st, would that?
No, October 15.
October 15th. All right, that's a much better. Well, I mean, you know, if they're allowed to mow it twice, they want to be able to do it once it's grown up and then once again before the winter. If that's what's correct for the habitat of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes, it's wetlands that help to make. Excuse me, on that land over there.
All right, that's the end of the motion. That would be everything.
Andy DeWolf, second.
Mike McGovern made the motion. Andy DeWolf seconded. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
No?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next up is 182 Manchog Road. This is another continuation.
No, that was clear.
I'll make a
Someone
motion
wants
to
waive the
waive.
reading. We don't have to read it in.
Only up to 3. Huh? Only up to 3. The town
Bill, do
hall?
we need a motion to waive the reading?
That's Zach made a motion to waive the reading of 182 Manchog Road. Do I have a second?
Andy DeWolf, seconds.
Zach made the motion. Andy seconded. Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Out.
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Okay, 182 Manchard Road. We have someone on to represent this one?
Hi, I'm Jude Govin. I'm from Andrews Engineering. I represent the applicant, Gene Berkowitz. First of all, my apologies for the mix-up for the last hearing. I wasn't able to attend it, and sorry if I wasted anyone's time, but we're here now, so thank you. This project was the reconstruction of a house that was currently on the property that abuts Manchog Road. And on a separate order of conditions, there was permission to reconstruct the house and put a deck on the house and reconfigure a portion of the stairs going down for the retaining wall leading down to Manchog Pond. Upon building the house and finishing up with the landscaping, it was realized that they did not have access from the driveway to get down to the pond without actually walking through the house. So on the left side of the house, it was a fairly steep slope that was it's not stabilized. And if left in that condition, it would have just been landscape growth and vegetation that they would have had to have maintained. So the proposal is to install a set of stairs and terraces, in each one of those lines on the left-hand side represent a small 2 to 3 foot terraced wall. And the intent is to have plantings along that, like mini planter beds. So you can walk down the center of the stairs and there'll be several stone retaining walls to act as the landscape beds, and it will actually hold back that side of the slope and prevent erosion on that side. The other thing that they're asking to do is to convert a piece of the lawn closer down towards the water, adjacent to the retaining wall, convert that into a pervious pavers type of patio area with a fire pit. And what we do there is we're not proposing to change any grade because we realize that we are in the floodplain zone. We're proposing to just put in the patio stones, rip up the existing grade down to the depth that you need to have the sand and the stone underneath it, and simply put patio stones in place. Again, not changing the elevation. First set of plans did go to Brandon, and he made a comment that instead of installing the patio right up to the back of the wall, he recommended putting in a stone strip so that if any runoff doesn't go down through the patio, it doesn't cascade over the wall. It actually gets trapped within the 3/4 inch stone that's going to be between the patio and the top of the retaining wall. And that's pretty much the project in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Jude. Brandon, any comments on this one?
Yeah, Jude has done everything that I've asked for, and I think that this is a good plan, and it's ready to go.
Thank you. Mike, any comments? You're muted, Mike.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, Mike, you good.
Okay. I'm glad to see the stairs going in. I think that I wish we didn't miss it the first time. I mean, just a safety thing to access the property. Patio, the fire pit looks good. Just, I don't see a lot of landscaping down by the water, and we're giving them an awful lot. I think they could just do something on that property line. What is that on the plan? It's hard to tell on the Zoom.
He has 3 chokeberry bushes in the upper left corner and a tree in the upper right corner.
Okay. You felt that was good?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And everything they're doing is in existing lawn to begin with, so there's no woody vegetation coming down, so I think it's good.
No questions.
Andy, anything?
No, I actually think this is actually an improvement for this property. I think it looks good.
Zach?
I just have one comment for Jude, a question. You said you're going to be planting like shrubs and everything, we just want to make sure they're native species. That was my only thought or comment, that we should make it, since it's not specified, we should just specify that it has to be native species.
Absolutely. They do specify specifically chokeberry or winterberry, which are both native. The tree is not specified as to what species it'll be, but I can write it in the order of conditions that any plantings must be indigenous species.
Okay, that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zach. Nicole?
I have no problem with this.
And Jamie, any comments? Okay, I don't have anything. Am I hearing a motion out there?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 182 Manchog Road.
I'll second it.
Zach made the motion for 182 and Mike seconded. Zach, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye.
Bill, I have one question for you.
Yes.
I checked this afternoon and there isn't a DEP number associated with this yet. Does that affect us closing the hearing and issuing the order of conditions, or we just have to wait to issue the order of conditions until we get the file number?
Oh, they're still behind. Brandon, did you check this one today? You checked it today?
I didn't check it today because it's been so long that I wouldn't even imagine that it would have taken so long. But I do know that DEP commented, and they were really concerned about the paver patio, but I wasn't worried about the paver patio as long as they made sure that the final grade was no higher than the existing grade, and because it's in the floodplain. So as long as they're not increasing grades, that they're fine.
Yep. I checked this morning for the file number, and I actually emailed the circuit writer that made those comments, Brandon. Yep. And I sent her the new plan and the explanation, and I didn't hear back from them. So I assumed that she was satisfied with my response. But again, I did reach out to her and ask her for a file number, and I haven't received anything back. And I checked at 6:30 right before the hearing, and there was not a file number issued yet.
You're right. Okay. Yeah. So
as much as I'd hate to prolong it, I figure I don't want to misconstrue what's going on. That's all.
Commission can't.
Thank you for being honest, Jude, because I think we would have missed it. I don't think we can legally close. Wanda, can you answer on that?
Legally, no, you can't close. You will have to continue to the next meeting. I didn't see any DEP number either. I looked too, and I didn't see it. But
so here's the problem.
We cannot close.
We just closed the public hearing.
I should have said something before. I'm sorry.
No, we can.
Okay, well, Bill, I mean, I think it means that we can't close it. So I think that vote is just nullified. But I will make a motion to retract the closing of 182 Manchog Road until a DEP number is issued.
So Zach, if you want to just make a motion to continue for 2 weeks out, Wanda?
Yeah, that'd be July 15th.
Okay, so I will make a motion to retract the closing of 182 Manchog Road and continue it until, what was the date?
July 15th.
July 15th.
At 6:50.
At 6:50.
Thank you, Zach.
I'll second.
Zach made a motion to continue 182 to July 15th, and Nicole seconded. Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Just for the record here on this one, if DEP makes no comment, Jude, you're gonna sail right through. So
Yep,
sorry you're
that's
not the
fine.
first one for the next meeting.
I just didn't want any kind of hiccup or paperwork backwards, that's all.
It's probably gonna come through tomorrow at like 8:30. You know
Yeah,
that, right?
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
But thank you. We'll see you in a
Okay.
couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
The next one up is 78 West Millbury Road. This is a new one that I've got to read.
This is live. And then moved on to another topic.
Sorry I didn't catch that, but the way I have to do the agenda now, it doesn't, we don't put the DEP number on there anymore. I'll have to pay more attention to that.
Oh,
No, you don't need a plan.
Did you find the legal ad, Bill? You're muted. Unmute.
Bill, you were muted.
Wanda, do you have that you could read in?
No, not with me. You have it in the last email, and it is on the drive. I managed to put it on the drive. See if you can open that. I just found it. Do you want me to read it in?
Yes, if you could, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you.
Okay, the Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing publicized in according with the provisions of GLC 131 and subsection 40 on Wednesday, July 1st, 2020 at 6:50 at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Uxbridge Road in Sutton. Obviously, we're on a Zoom meeting. When I put the ad in, it has to be a little different. The purpose of the hearing is to review a notice of intent. Sorry, it's not a notice of intent. It is a request for determination by Brigitta and Donald Payne. The project consists of replacement of trees and bushes taken down during a storm at 78 West Millbury Road. This would be a virtual meeting in accordance with orders issued by the governor during the current state of emergency. There will be no in-person attendance by the public. Persons may attend the participating in hearing by using the online Zoom application via phone. The number is 1-929-205-6099, US, New York. Meeting ID 823-1066-1100 with a password of 059649. You may also provide input by emailing it to w.bean@town.sutton.ma.us or mailing it to the Conservation Office at 4 Oxford Road in Sutton, Mass. An electric file of the application material can be viewed on the town's website at sutton.ma.org. Conservation, and the date would be July 1st. With a copy of the same may also be requested by email to the same w.bean@town.sutton.ma.us or by phone 508-865-8728. This was published on June 18th, 2020.
Thank you very much, Wanda. Sorry for the technical difficulties here. So 78 West Millbury Road, we have someone here for that?
She was given the information. I did call her, gave all the information. Maybe she's having a problem getting on. This is an RDA after the fact. So I don't know if she has been able to get on with us or not.
Do we want to make a motion to table 78 West Milbury to the end of the meeting?
This
It's up to you.
wasn't, Andy DeWolf, this was an RDA. I guess we don't really need anybody present, correct, Brandon?
That is correct.
All right, so I just give you a synopsis. Mike had called me one day. We ran into an issue up there. They were cutting down trees against the BVW, in the BVW, a couple of them. They were told to stop. There was a couple of small shrubs and bushes. There was not a lot of kind of disturbance, and they had agreed to replace what was taken down. So the only thing we want to get through to them, I think, is just, I think there's 4 or 6 large pine trees, white pines that were taken down in our jurisdiction. They just need to be replaced. Have we got any paperwork from them, Wanda, about a replacement?
I have the paperwork. I don't think she said anything about replacement. Hold on. She had a hard time filling it out, so I can give her a call or let them know that they need to replace the trees. I have been by there twice myself, and she did have to replant her special. There's plants there. I forgot what they're called. They're supposedly prize plants, but I think she's going to lose them. They didn't look too healthy when I went by there last week. But I can contact her. Just let me know how many trees they need to replace, and I can let her know.
All right. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but Bill and Brandon, Mike, if you get a chance this week, just come up with a number and they can phone in the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody, and just we'll have them replace those. I think it was either 4 or 6 trees, and I'll be happy with that.
I will be fine with that as well. Does Mike, Nicole, Zach, or James have any comments on this?
No comment.
No comment.
I just want the trees replaced.
My only comment is just because I had I was able to be on site and I've been by there since. It's cleaned up real nice. It's wood chipped. She did replant. I saw at least 3 or 4 large, whatever she had pulled out of that prize winning plant. Some of them don't look like they're going to make it, but maybe they will. I think just the RDA is just to mark up a little plot plan of just what got taken down and then what was supposed to happen. And so it's hard to say. Brandon, I believe we walked it together. I think maybe 3 or 4 trees.
Yeah, I'd say 4.
4. So what would we ask of them, just so it's clear? Because I know they're older and I don't want it to be hard on them. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, just of being on site, is they were very, very close to that wetland, right? If not, like Andy said, in it. But just to make sure they plant something that at least stays alive, that will help keep the wetland the way it was, with shade and a buffer because there's a driveway there and it's close to the road. So I think that's the only mission of the RDA, is to just make sure that what was transplanted stays alive. And so I think if that can get to them, I would be good with that.
Is that a motion you're making, Mike?
Well, it's an RDA, so do we just close this out and you do that as the condition of the RDA?
I believe that you close the public hearing and make it a negative determination just to plant 4 trees or whatever is voted on.
So I'll make a motion to make a negative determination to, the only condition is that she plants 4 bushes or trees to replace the 4 that she took down.
And can you also make a motion to close the public hearing too?
These are public hearings. So I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
So Mike closed the public hearing and made a motion on 78 West Millbury Road of negative determination. And Zach seconded it. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Thank you, guys. 7 p.m. is 125 Singletary Ave. This is ratify an enforcement order. Wanda, do you have any updates on this?
Which one are we at? 125 Cemetery Ave.
Yes.
I believe I saw him on here somewhere, Tom Costa.
Yeah,
It's me.
Oh,
It's
you
Larissa
are.
Costa.
Could you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Larissa Costa, 125 Singletary Ave, Sutton, Mass.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Okay. So this is my understanding that trees were cut and a telephone pole were cut on 125 Singletary.
So I'm not sure how much you guys know, but so 125 was a house that was flipped basically, and the contractor who bought the lot had split it into two with the plan for a the common driveway. And so as part of my mortgage, I had to approve the common driveway. And for what I know is that for the contractor to build the house that's being built behind me, that the trees had to come down as part of the agreement with the town. I didn't have anything to do with the trees coming down personally. I didn't even know like when it was going to happen or anything like that. And
Okay, so so you didn't cut the trees, you didn't have knowledge of it, or the telephone pole. Okay, so this is.
I knew the trees had to come down as part of the common driveway agreement.
But you didn't cut them down. Okay. Brandon, can you give us a little insight on this one?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the approved site plan, and it makes no sense to me that trees along the street would have to come down as part of the shared driveway agreement, because the approved plan by Conservation Commission does not show approval for any trees along the street to come down. The approved limit of disturbance,
I have it,
ends up going tight to the entrance, at Singletary Ave, and that's it. There's no trees along the street that were allowed to be cut. So it's pretty clear to me that this is a violation of the permit.
Andy, do you want to chime in for a minute?
Yes, go ahead, Andy.
Ms. Costa, I think we all understand what's going on here. It's not you. Brandon, how do we write up Gianni Romeo for these? Because this is like the 18th time in the 18th meeting that we're going through the same thing. What are we going to do?
The trees were cut down. Well, here's a question. Were the trees cut down on the 125 Singletary Ave property, or were they cut down in the road right of way? That's a big question, because as far as going after Gianni, it's going to be difficult, because you can only write the enforcement order for the property owner, to the property owner, and then the property owner would have to go after the person who did it civilly.
Can we write, so the back property, which he still owns, has a deeded right of way through that, and that's the owner that's doing the work. Is that enough?
That's a good legal question. If it's a shared driveway, and I don't know, is it an easement or is it like common ownership?
Ms. Costa or Mr. Costa, can you answer that question? Do you know if it's a?
I'm sorry, I'm not an expert. I believe we allow them to build the driveway in her property.
And I have a copy of the agreement with the town, and it does say that there are certain trees that need to come down before he can build for the common driveway. I'm not sure which one specifically, but it is part of the signed agreement to the
Do
town.
you know what agreement, what board of, that is from the town? Is it conservation or planning or building?
It went to everyone. Everyone's on the mail.
Oh, okay.
And that
And
was
we
It
know
was in
it's
June of
due to.
2019. So
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's dated June 5th of 2019.
Does it say who's the initial?
Who signed it?
Who did it go to?
The CC.
Yeah.
It goes to went to everyone.
So he just sent that to us a couple weeks ago. We'd never seen it until then, but
Can you forward us a copy of that?
where would you like it sent?
What's easier, text or email?
She can text it to somebody right now if you want.
My cell phone's 508.
Give me 1 second. Okay.
I'll get some hate mail too, but that's okay.
508.
797 2444.
He said he was gonna drop the paperwork off with Wanda when I mentioned this to him. I don't know if he ever did or not.
We never received it.
Bill, through the chair, Mike McGovern.
Yes, Mike.
Couple questions. So there's a tree, there's a telephone pole, and at the top of the pole, it's an overhead service to the existing house. On a common drive, that's supposed to be not overhead, it's supposed to be underground. I don't believe the telephone pole's on our filing, and that looks new to construction of that house, like it had been replaced. Now, there's a roadway being constructed with the hay bales and silt fence. I think are in poor shape. I think there's still some work on the road as far as the swale, Brandon. I don't have the plan in front of me. It sounds like,
I have the plan in front of me.
so it sounds like all this work is being done on someone else's, the Costa's property. They own it. They bought it, and they have an agreement that they have to allow the road to be built. But did they understand that they would have to be responsible for the order of conditions that's still outstanding on that property? Will you guys explain that?
How would we know that?
So your attorney at closing, it's on your deed to your land that there's a conservation restriction. So usually before you close, somebody makes you aware of this conservation easement and restriction and all the responsibilities that would have went along with it. Because there's still quite a bit of work left to be done, evidently on your property, to build this road, to satisfy the board, to take this order of conditions off your property. And I'm an educator and I want to help, so I just want you to know what's in your best interest is the end goal is to get a certificate of compliance on the order of condition, and that's what's important to our board as well. Remember, we're not here to give you a hard time, it's just to facilitate the process of the rules that have to be followed. So I don't want you to leave all upset thinking it's just, I guess the builder is leaving it up to you to be the communication between us and the board. And there's quite a bit of work and there's some concerns. I mean, I'll make a suggestion. It would be nice if Romeo or one of the owners of that development of the property, whoever it is, maybe came and were a little accountable for what was going on there. I think that would just be a common courtesy to the board.
Well, Mike, I want to read. Thank you for texting this to me. So number 3, and this is dated or signed by Robert Largess, the chairman, and I think he was the chairman. Well, he was the chairman at the time of planning board, and it's May of 2019, and it was CC'd to every board in town. And it's number 3: prior to commencement of construction on a common driveway or any house to be served by the common driveway, the applicant will secure any permits in or written permission required from the Mass Highway Department to remove public shade trees to achieve the required site distance and provide a copy of this permission to the planning department. Underground utilities shall be provided on this common driveway. That's the info. Thank you very much for this. I think we all know that the Costa family did, I'm going to say it on TV, did nothing wrong in this. I want to point that out. I guess my question is how does this get handled? And there's a telephone pole, so is the line going to drop down and now go underground from there? That's
So, not to cut you off, can we put a formal complaint in with the planning board that they did not follow, what was that, rule number 3?
it was rule number 3. However, unless they did get approval from the Mass Highway Department, because it's not a town road, it's Massachusetts road.
We'd still need conservation approval. They're in our jurisdiction. So even if it's a scenic or a shade road and they needed permission from the state level or the planning board level, they would still have to talk about it at filing with conservation. We have all the utility companies have to come to us, and they work on the roadways, to service the whole town. And when they're in our jurisdiction, they have to get permission. And once again, I don't know if, because the house is under construction in the back, what we can do to get the attention of the builder to get him to be in compliance with all these rules and regulations that doesn't affect the owners of the property.
Excuse me, can I bring, so in as full disclosure, it just so happens that Gianni's building the house in the back for her sister. Again, she hasn't bought the house, but so we do have a vested interest in making sure it gets done correctly. But on the other hand, we really knew nothing about it.
Thank you for being honest.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we issue a formal complaint to the planning board for violation of Johnny Romeo violating rule number 3 of their order. And what's the date?
I'm sorry, it's dated June 5th, 2019. I had to double check it.
June 25th?
June 5th, but it's also listing 125, 131, and 135.
They're in violation. I'm going to make a motion that we write a formal complaint to the planning board to Gianni Romeo for violation of rule number 3 of the order for 125, 135, and 131 Singletary Road.
I'll second.
So Andy made a motion, Nicole seconded. Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Bill Wentz vote aye. I want to thank the Costas for coming in, and that you have to go through this. I think they're okay to move on from here because clearly they're not the ones doing it. Brandon, can you give us any insight on that, or?
Say that one more time.
I want to just make sure the Costas are okay to hang up from this Zoom call and that there's nothing else they need to do at this time, or is there something, just so there's no stone left unturned?
There is currently an enforcement order, correct?
Yes, there is.
The purpose of the meeting was to ratify and review the enforcement order. So I think you should probably take action on the ratification one way or another.
Andy DeWolf makes a motion to nullify the enforcement order.
I'll second.
Andy made the motion, Nicole seconded. Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
I vote aye, but this is for Larissa Costa, right? Not Gianni Romeo?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, I vote yes.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye as well. Thank you all on this one. Thank you for dealing with this. I know it's not been fun, and it's
Can I
interesting.
ask a question? What
Sure.
is that? What did you just do?
Yeah.
What does it mean? I mean, obviously I still have a vested interest because my daughter who's building that house is living with me. So I'm just curious what that's going to mean.
It means that you sitting on the screen here that got the enforcement order are not in trouble, and it's basically been thrown away. And we're going to go through planning board to get the attention of Mr. Romeo to try to get this fixed, as we know that the two of you.
So he's
here
gonna
do
have to
not-
meet some of your conditions that he should have been meeting all along.
Yes, absolutely.
But it won't affect him continuing to work. I guess that's my concern. It will affect him continuing to work. I mean, you're not gonna give him a cease and desist, at least now, or something like that.
Well, the home itself that's being built, I believe for your daughter, that actually the home, correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon or anybody, is completely out of our jurisdiction. It's just across on the end to get to the back lot.
Okay, okay.
So
It's on a separate lot, so it's a separate issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both for your time. Appreciate your patience.
Feel free if you need any other information.
Come around.
Keep you
We can
posted.
provide it. All
Have a good 4th.
right, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Next up is 5.5 Sunrise Drive, and it's another ratifying enforcement order. And Mr. Patient is on.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, good.
Do you want to tell us what's going on?
Oh, well, I guess I was supposed to submit some paperwork because I had my driveway replaced last fall. So I dropped off that paperwork this morning to, I believe that Wanda said that she has it in hand. I just wasn't sure if it was all the paperwork that was necessary, and she didn't have a chance to get back to me, but I figured if we could review it now.
The paperwork is correct, but the checks are not.
Oh, okay,
I will call you Monday when I come in.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Patient. Anyone have any comments on this one?
The question and the purpose of the hearing is to ratify and review the enforcement order. So that's something that's actionable and should be taken up.
Thank you.
Brandon, should we nullify this one tonight? I just want to make sure it gets filed.
That he filed the permit application, that he's moving forward in good faith.
That a motion,
I'll
Ian?
make a motion to nullify the enforcement order, because the goal was to get him to just file his paperwork.
Mike made the motion and
I'll second it.
Zach seconded. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Thank you very much for coming in, and Wanda, just please let Mr. Patient know what differences need to be made up next week.
Yeah, I'll call when I come back to the office on Monday.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Wanda.
Have a good one. 7:20, it's now 7:51. We're way over. You guys are gonna fire me. 211 Boston Road, another enforcement order.
Good evening.
Hi, how are you? If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Ross Giovanucci, 211 Boston Road.
Thank you, Ross. And so there was an enforcement order for some work being done on Boston Road. I don't know if you want to fill us in on the level we're at now.
Yeah, we'd scratched out a little bit of area that was an existing cart path on the property, and then I was notified by Brandon that was inside the buffer zone. Mike, I believe, and Brandon met with me at my property, and we walked the area that was disturbed. They asked me to put up silt fence and kind of just level out the area that's been that was disturbed. And they asked me to get a site survey with the 100-foot buffer zone marked. And that has currently been done. I don't know if you have those plans in front of you. I did email them to Wanda I think it was last Thursday evening. So I had DNR survey out of Worcester. They came in and they did all the markings. They were the ones that previously marked the wetlands for the old owners or the previous buyers. I think you've had this property on your board before. So that's what I did, and that's where we're at. So we have it all marked, the 100-foot buffer zone through the disturbed area that I've dug out. And we've reclaimed, we flattened out the area in the buffer zone, and we put up silt fence. So that's kind of where we're at.
Great. Thank you for that. Thank you for being patient on this long meeting tonight. Any comments on this to the board?
Andrew, if I may, I think looking at it, I did stop in there. I was not available that day for the meeting, but I think if we just abandon what was done, let it regrow, take the silt fence out after it's grown, I think it's no huge deal.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mike McGovern. Thank you. You did a great job. You reacted right away, did everything me and Brandon asked. I think this was the last little bit to put this enforcement order to rest, was just to get this plan on file. I believe I want Brandon just to weigh in as well, but I think I'm all set. I was happy that we were able to identify where he was and, where the activity took place. I think we educated him on, how the wetland laws work in our town and what he can do and he can't do. And I have no more to say. I think we should put it to rest.
Thank you. Brandon, any comments?
If you're happy with it, I'm happy with it.
I just want to clarify one thing. There's a small pile of rocks that are inside the buffer zone that I'd like to move. Is that going to be okay?
Is that a pile of rocks that you put there?
I put that there, correct.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Would you like me to, I can move them. I'd like to move them because I want to place them along the buffer zone anyway. That way, when the stakes rot away, there's still a defined line there.
I'd be happy with that.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but if I may, some of the education that I think that me and Brandon gave you was that it's not the edge of the flag, it's 100 feet from the flag. And that previous cart road hadn't been disturbed in a long, long time. And that I believe like your shed and your upper driveway, and that's kind of where I want to use the words limited disturbance. So just so you understand, not that you can't use that land, but you have to fight. You'd have to come in front of, the board and explain what you would want to do with it.
All right.
But the intent was to let that grow back natural.
Right.
And some of the reason we asked you to file is if your intent was to do anything different, just to, not that you couldn't, but to disclose it on a plan and discuss it with the board.
All right. So if
you have other plans, now's the time before we, I guess you would file an order of conditions next.
Yeah. So where the flags are now, not the flags, but the buffer zone markings, the 100-foot buffer.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking about. I have marked the 100-foot buffer.
Oh, and you're going to put the rocks along that.
Correct.
Wow. You're really doing the right thing.
Well, they're there. I can't do anything else with them.
Yeah, that's great. Say no more. Happy with it before.
It's not going to happen tomorrow, but I'm going to get it done at some point.
No worries. I have no more questions.
All right.
I have no problems either. I think that's a good idea to mark the 100-foot, so I have no problems with it.
Thank you, Zach. Am I hearing a motion out there, guys?
I'll make a motion to nullify the enforcement order on 211 Boston Road.
I'll second it. Oh.
All right, so Zach made the motion, Andy seconded it. Zach, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
Andy, how do you vote?
Andy DeWolf, aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Thank you very much for coming in and for your patience on the long meeting, and welcome to Sutton. Hopefully we didn't scare you off.
Not yet.
Just wait.
Just remember, any further activity you do within that 100-foot zone, you gotta come to the commission.
Wait, what was that again?
Any new activity you do within that 100-foot zone, make sure you come to the Conservation Commission.
Don't you worry, there's nothing getting dug in that 100-foot zone. I already forgot I owned it.
I think he's already afraid to pull in his driveway now.
Yeah, well,
Thank
you
you
know,
guys.
I can leave the shed there though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good enough. Jeez. Have a good one, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Next up is board business. We have the minutes from June 3rd, and I thought we had the minutes from June 17th as well. Is that right?
You do. Unfortunately, I finished them yesterday. I sent them out to everybody, or I sent them to you. Did you get a chance to send them to everybody?
I did send those out, yeah.
So it's up to you what you want to do. If you want to table them or if you want to approve them.
They're not
I
on the
did
agenda.
correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 3rd.
Well, wait, Andy, didn't you say there was an issue with one of them?
Yes, I fixed it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
With the correction.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to read the corrected version, so I'm going to have to abstain, but when we
Who
vote.
made a motion on that?
Andy DeWolf made the motion.
Andy DeWolf made the motion, and
I will second.
Nicole seconded. Andy, how do you vote?
Andy DeWolf votes aye.
Nicole, how do you
Was
vote?
that just for the 3rd and the 17th or just for the 3rd?
Negative, just the 3rd. The 17th was not published.
Okay.
Andy voted aye. Nicole, you voted aye. Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, you're standing. Does this mean I have James vote in this case if he's sustaining or just no?
Yes, sir.
James, how do you vote?
Good.
I vote aye.
Thank you. And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Wanda, we have to re-sign the order for 23 Tucker Lane. Is that one that's been done?
Yeah, that was the one that we had to redo the name on so that he could get it filed with the Worcester Registry of Deeds so that he can do a certificate of compliance. I believe that's the one that I had everybody sign. So it's up to you what you want to do.
Mr. Chairman, Brandon Fana.
Yep.
It's not a certificate of compliance, at least not yet. This is a situation where the applicant is actually, well, the new owner is doing what they're supposed to do by notifying the Conservation Commission that the property has changed hands. And what he wants to do is put the order in his name now, so it can get recorded with the Registry of Deeds, which is the proper procedure. But in order to record anything with Registry of Deeds, as you know, they require original signatures. And he doesn't have an order with the original signature. So what he's asking for is a new signed order of conditions, but with his name on it, so he can record it as the new owner.
Okay, thank you. Sounds good to me. Anyone have any comments, concerns?
I have nothing.
It's nice because most people don't bother doing that.
Yeah, he's shocking us because he's doing it the right way. Wanda, you don't need a motion on that, right? You just need us to sign it?
Yeah, I believe that's all. I think a couple people have already signed it. I'll have to look at it and see if I need any more signatures on it. I might. We'll have to wait till Monday to do that.
Okay, thank you. Project update on the enforcement order for 290 Putnam Hill Road. Anyone got anything?
Which one was this, Bill? I'm sorry, my
290 Putnam Hill, that's by the golf course.
Wanda, have we heard anything back on that?
No, I have not received anything from that.
Did the attorneys get all the paperwork on it?
I did. I mailed out the whole file. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything back on that yet, and that got mailed to the owner's attorney.
We'll give them till the next meeting you know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm only one person.
No, I agree, because I believe this is a similar situation. Builder sold it, homeowner, and they're just getting up to speed what's going on. So we wouldn't want to force our hand when someone's, I think, actively trying to come in front of our board and explain what's going on, I would hope. Can we ask for an as-built plan? I think the next step would be that somebody, I guess it would be these owners, would come in front of us with an as-built plan.
I'm with you on that.
If you give me a moment, I'll look up the enforcement order and see exactly what was required here. Signed enforcement order.
The enforcement order should be on the meeting materials folder.
Yep.
And I hate to say this, but I think next meeting, if we don't hear from somebody, we're gonna have to start fining per day until somebody comes in front of our board. And I know that's not the way we want to go, but just like, once again, I did the site visit, and there's, we believe, some pretty good significant deviations from the plan.
Yeah.
To the extent that Brandon went out with GPS equipment and kind of verified it, that we were at least on the right track, that something was different.
Yeah, and there were 5 specific action requests. The first was to provide an as-built plan of work completed to date, including a topographical survey in compliance with Special Condition 34C, as the commission believes there are enough deviations to require one. The second one was to overlay the as-built plan on the approved site plan for comparative purposes. 3 was the as-built plan must be created before any other issues are remedied. Number 4, a professional engineer must outline all nonconformities in compliance with Special Condition 34A. And the last one, number 5, is to remedy activities and issues mentioned in section A2 above, which was the hit list of everything that they were in non-compliance with. So it's pretty comprehensive, this enforcement order, and it's completely up to the commission as to how long you want it to go on before you take action, whatever that may be.
Brandon, question, is there a time limit on it? Like, I think we usually say 30 days. Is that specified in this one?
No, it's not. No, there's no, we did not put an end date on it. However, that said, there's a reasonable amount of time that I think that one could expect for someone to respond.
Okay,
Brandon,
go ahead, Mike.
Could we, so we're all, it's the same goal type of thing, and we just want to do it right. So I believe at the next meeting, the owners should at the very least weigh in and bring us up to speed with what's going on so that we understand. Because like I said, I think come the next meeting, if we don't hear anybody to defend this, the fines will have to start. I don't think we have a choice.
Andrew DeWolf. Wanda, can you email the attorney of 290 Putnam Hill and request their presence or the owner's presence at the next meeting?
At the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's a smart idea.
I as well. Well
and
done.
that would be, that gives them 2 weeks if
Okay.
you know. Do we have their email that we could at least give them a heads up if you're not gonna have a notice until next Monday, or?
I'll have to look at the paperwork.
Okay.
Well, let me look at it before I leave tonight, and I'll see what I can find.
And Wanda, last thing you got here is departmental project input forms. Is there anything
Yeah, we
going
have
on?
nothing.
Nothing?
No.
No. It's my first running a meeting in a while. Did I miss anything? We pretty much got everything, right?
Do the roll call, Bill, just who voted.
Oh, I have to say who's here?
Yeah, who was here, full members and associate.
All right. I can say them all out, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Mike McGovern, Vice Chair, Zach Peliquin, Andrew DeWolf, Nicole Owen, Clerk, James Marin, Associate Member, and Bill Wentz, Chair.
Andrew Wolf makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Andy made the motion. Zach seconded. Andy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Zach, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mike, how do you vote?
Aye.
Nicole, how do you vote?
Aye.
And I, Bill Wentz, vote aye. Thank you guys for all your patience tonight. Have a good 4th of July, everybody.
Good job, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.